Morning, friends. How you doing? This is the 0DTE and Fat Tail morning market analysis. Another great day. It is June 25th, and today is not necessarily a Fed day, but almost as important because we do have Chairman Powell speaking today in front of Congress. Anyways, markets are entering a moment of reflection and potential repricing as Fed Chair Powell takes the mic in front of Congress. I know that he's been saying that rate cuts, he's really not thinking about that, and they're kind of measuring the data, and they're really contemplating what all this tariff stuff really means and all this other bull. Anyways, underneath, they're getting unbelievable pressure to cut rates because there's no reason not to. The Fed current rates, the overnight rate, is way higher than the 2-year. And what's going on with that? Right? It makes no sense. It really seems more like either they don't know what they're doing or it's some sort of political vendetta. I don't know. One or the other, or it could be both. Both is more likely. And that's the way it goes. Anyways, with the VIX really sliding below 18 now, almost into it's at 17.09 currently. So it has dropped dramatically, and we're threatening to get into the zombie land zone. It's unbelievable. Rate cut odds are heating up now. If you go back to the Fed Watch tool, you'll see that rate cuts are actually inching up there in terms of the probability for the next meeting. So we'll take a look at that in a bit. Anyways, traders are bracing for impact. Will Powell soothe or shock? See, that's the thing. Everyone knows that he's got to cut rates, but he may just decide to be stubborn because he's getting pressure. And go out with a bang. Either way, he's gone next year. We know that. Absolutely. Now, will he actually do what's right for the country or not? That's what it really comes down to. There's no reason also why one person should have this kind of power. It's absolutely insane. We need to abolish the Fed, quite frankly. And maybe after he's gone, that's what we'll do. I don't know. I think it will take an act of Congress, and they don't have the political will. But meanwhile, the geopolitical landscape is cooling with an Iran. I'm sorry. What's the proper pronunciation of Iran? It's Iran and Israel ceasefire. It's not Iran. Shifting attention back to economic data and central bank tone. But beneath the surface, earnings from Nike and FedEx hint at global demand fractures. Do they? Today's structure is fragile. What breaks first, volatility or the narrative? All I know is that we've broken through the third step to the stairway to heaven, and now there's little in the way for us to go after all-time highs. And as the macro lens shifts from war risk to monetary risk, the structure of market expectation becomes the battlefield. Powell's testimony isn't just about rate possibilities. It's a referendum on belief. Are we in a soft landing, a late cycle buff, or early chapters of a liquidity pivot? And I'm going to add to that, or just the Fed rearranging their narrative to do a hold on to power or relevancy. I think that's more likely the case. The big ass fly this morning, it is just out of control. It's just, just last week we were talking about big ass fly debits. That's a 50 wide at the money butterfly pre-market that we use to gauge implied volatility in the morning. And we're looking to, as a trade, anything under 25. But we've been steadily in below 20, right? Or at 20 or below 20. Now it's at 29. The highest that I've ever seen is at 34.5, 35. So we're already, I mean, what that's saying is that volatility in the morning has just plummeted, absolutely plummeted, and the premium decay rate has increased dramatically. So that's going to bring on a lot of different opportunities from fat tail traders, particularly near the end of expiration cycles. So so really, we're not looking for a trade in the big ass fly, but yet this might be considered kind of a trap. You know, when the narrative compresses too cleanly, even a whisper from the Fed can trigger a gamma cascade. So we got to be very cognizant of that. Powell could come out and just say anything. Who knows? A shift in his narrative. I mean, he is talking in front of Congress, and they think he's God. And the Iran-Israel ceasefire may reduce headline tension, but the real volatility hides in policy misreads and decaying structure. What does that mean? Policy misreads. In other words, if Powell says something and there's a participle or a pronoun out of place, all of a sudden the whole Wall Street narrative goes to hell. So today isn't about the move, it's about where positioning is wrong. Do I sound like a cynic? It's because I am, you know? I mean, there's absolutely nothing that you can look at from the Fed and say, yeah, they're serious. There's absolutely nothing you can look at mainstream media when they're reporting on the economy that they actually know what they're talking about or have any idea what the economy is all about. So we're left to our own devices to do our own research, and that's what I suggest. So every morning I do a macro report. I look at the actual numbers and provide that to my service, as well as our Fat Tail community and our Zero DTE community in school. If you're interested in that, go down below and check out Fat Tail. So, yeah, we have some agreement in the chat. Yes, and the Fed. So what we're going to do now is go on to the charts. And yeah, we can see, wow, it's dropped even more than the last time I looked at it. But the VIX right now is at just above 17. The zombie land is just below that. See, zombie land, see, it's over here, zombie land. There we go. We're starting to look for the Zero DTE trade, narrower flies. There's another alternative for the Zero DTE trade. As opposed to going to narrower flies, we can stay with a wider spread, but we'll go a little further out of the money and then potentially do a kind of a condor. And that will give us a similar, actually a better risk to reward, but much greater potential. Because I think that we're going to be moving up continually over the next few days, barring anything happening with today's in front of Congress Chairman Powell's speech, or whatever you call that. I mean, he's testifying. I guess that's what it really is. Testimony. His testimony. Whether or not that is going to impact the market or not remains to be seen, but we're all going to be watching it. You might be watching it, but I'm not going to be watching it. I'll just be waiting on the sidelines. My bets, my positioning is already set. And that's one of the beauties of being a fat tail trader. We do not predict, we position. In fact, yesterday I released the very first win in my fat tail campaign strategy that I started a few days ago. And it showed a 900, whoa, sorry there, Optimus. It showed a 950% return on my fourth trade. And I expect many more returns quite like that, maybe even more, as high as 5,000%. I mean, those are the type, we're after those big moves. That's all we care about. Any of the small moves, we take such small risk that it doesn't matter. It's just kind of a grind, just waiting for the big move, and bam, we take it. Fantastic strategy, super low anxiety, very high profit potential. Yeah. Anyways, that's the Fat Tail campaign. Go down below and check it out. So as we go on here, I've already mentioned the big ass fly. I've told you that the reading on the big ass fly, the debit now is around 29. So that means that if you are doing the butterfly in the morning, that we're going in favoring narrower positions. But if you're more of a fat tail trader, then stay wide. Just push it further out. You're not looking at 1 to 9 risk to reward ratio anymore. You might be looking at 1 to 20, 1 to 30. And you'll say, oh, but how am I ever going to profit on that, coach? You will, trust me. And when you do, you're going to be happy that I told you to do that. So let's take a look at the big ass fly, just so that you see that I'm not just whistling Dixie. There it is. So, like I said, just a week ago, we were looking at debits not at 20. Well, this morning it was at 29. So it's probably going to drop a little bit as we get closer to the Powell testimony. But this morning it was at 29 and change. And you can see right now it's about 28. I see. That's because the market has moved up, so it's not centered. Let's center it just so you get a better feel for that. Let's see. The center is at about 5 points higher. So we'll just increase by 1 strike and see where that brings us. Because the market's taken off. Yeah, see, 29.65. That's where the center is. That's crazy. Cray. All right. Let's get back to the charts. Here's our trading view. So where is the directional bias? Well, of course, it is up, and away. We have now officially achieved a golden cross after getting the death cross earlier in April, which was a bunch of bull. If someone tells you that a golden cross or a death cross are worth trading, run away. Just run away. I'm putting it up there really just for posterity, just to make that point. And pretty much run away from any kind of technical analysis that they're talking about. If they start talking, head and shoulders and all this other crap, yeah, run away. Someone talks about volume profile, listen to them. All right, we're looking for a pullback into structural levels, possibly at 61.41 on the ES. Let's see what else that we have. We have to go to the volume profile to really check this out. Yeah. So, maybe at 61.50. And after that, man, this is thin air up here. I expect that we're going to move up very quickly until we get up to this node, which is punctuated or starts at 61.88. I think that we could see some mammoth moves. We'll probably stall here. And then, these are the next 2 steps before we get to an all-time high. And that's coming soon, I believe, unless Powell decides that he wants to exert some of his posterior and basically shit on the rest of us. That's the only thing that's really in our way, is the narrative of one man, which is, as I said earlier, insane. All right, that's the story for this morning. I'm going to stop calling this the the morning market analysis and call it the cynics analysis, because that's really what it is. I don't know why we put up with this crap. Anyways, that's where we're at. It's all good. Again, we're not relying on what the Fed's going to do. However, we are positioned for any possibility, whether they decide to go with what they should be doing or decide to exert whatever power that they have. We are positioned for either case. And I took on another convex trade, which is another fat tail trade yesterday after closing yesterday's trade for a Monday expiration. And I'm on both sides of the fence there. And if that turns out well, a $50 trade could return as much as $5,000. So if you're interested in that kind of return, go to Fat Tail down below. All right, that's about it. This is Coach Ernie. Thank you very much. I'm out.